Poland proves to be the last straw, because the argument that there are Germans or people with German affinities living there that want to be part of the German Empire just does not hold any water. So the approach that the Germans use is known as blitzkrieg. Blitz is the German term for lightning, so a really quick, a rapid war using things like tanks that have been improved since World War I, troops that have been training for the past 3 or 4 years. And by September of 1939, Poland is divided between the Soviet Union and Germany. This leads to a declaration of war by Great Britain and France, and it leads Germany to have to fight a single front war to their west. The Allies set up what they call a Maginot Line, basically a series of forts that border France and Germany facing towards Germany, and try and use all the artillery and those defensive armaments much in the same way that kind of trenches had been used in World War I to block any type of advance. But by 1939, 1940, Germany resumes offense. They end up attacking Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Belgium, all areas that fall very quickly because these are pretty small countries without large standing armies. A lot of times this is referred to as springtime for Hitler. If any of you have ever seen the movie Producers, this is where the title track comes from. But what it indicates is that things seem very positive and promising, and it's like the German Empire is going to expand. Once those areas are controlled and an attack moves towards France in what is known as the Schlieffen Plan, it seems like Germany is nearly unstoppable. There are at one point 300,000 soldiers stationed in an area called Dunkirk, largely British soldiers who are overwhelmed by the Germans and are ferried out largely by fishermen who sail from England and put troops on board and take them back. And Hitler keeps up this momentum so that by June of 1940, he marches into Paris and forces the surrender of France and sets up a new government. It's known as Vichy France, that is basically a puppet to the Nazi regime. From that point forward, now Britain has really one enemy. Now Germany has one enemy, which is Britain. And of course, the geographic advantage that Britain has is that it's an island. Well, another technology that's developed since World War I are planes that can drop bombs. And so Hitler decides that the easiest way to take England out of the war early on is to bomb it into submission. And from August to September 1940, tons of plane raids go from Germany to Great Britain, drop untold hundreds of thousands of bombs similar to those that were used in the Spanish Civil War on places like London, killing thousands of civilians. And in response to this, Winston Churchill, who had very much opposed Neville Chamberlain's stance of appeasement, basically states, and he does this in a series of lectures or speeches that are delivered to every Briton, that the British people need to stay strong, that they are the only hope of preventing Hitler from overwhelming all of Europe. And they basically got to, as the British call it, keep a stiff upper lip, even when Germans moved from targeting munitions factories and industries that might potentially help Britons in the war to just targeting cities as a whole using their air force, or as they call it, the Luftwaffe.